Hello again, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Tuesday, March 17th, 2009. Some interesting news today. Housing starts did very nicely this morning. Wholesale prices also edged up. You can see this from Yahoo Finance, just some news. If you want more specific information about those things, you can go over to Investing on the home page, go to Stocks, and then also kind of just drop down a little bit and go to either earnings dates, conference calls. There's all sorts of great stuff in here. But over here you've got financial calendars and economic. Click on that and it'll give you all the data that's coming out for the week or next week or last week if you want to look at things, and you can see how the numbers come out. So pretty nice to have that at your fingertips, and it will tell you exactly what it was, what the market expected, what the briefing forecast is, and what it was revised from, so on and so forth. So that's kind of a nice resource for people to go through. Real quick news can be found on the front page, just more top stories right here, and kind of go through it. So IRS is giving some relief to some Madoff investors. Wall Street seesaws midday trading. Caterpillar's laying off 2,454 workers. So it's kind of fun to go through the news here and just get an idea about the environment that we're trading in, and only then go and look at some of the fundamental information. So yesterday I burned a video about noon, a little bit late, but the midday markets were running right up into this resistance area at 78 that I dropped in, the round number, which was support, becoming resistance again and again and again and again throughout here, and then a deeper sell-off, even a gap down, filled this gap, another gap down. I did its best to fill that, and then right through here, so you could draw some horizontal lines through here. I just removed them to make it a little bit easier to see things. But these areas, and then right back up into this resistance at 78. So right around noon, this was happening. I said, watch out. The trends were not matching. We got a sell-off right after that. So if we zoom back in intraday, we now know that we're looking at a higher swing low after the sell-off. So let's go back to 2 days, 5-minute chart. Actually, let's do a 5-day, 15-minute chart. So we're zooming in now. Here's the run up. Nice little gap up, and then the $78 mark right after we talked at noon. We had a good sized sell-off that filled this gap plus some. So that's a more than 100% retracement right here of this last gap, and that's going to be a little bit more likely that we form a lower swing high through here. So right now we're making a higher swing low on a very short term, and so that's what we're fighting right now. What's interesting is in the context of this, we've got some good trend numbers coming out near here. So if we go to the trend, go to a 1-day, 5-minute chart, all I'm really looking for is the number anyway. So 0.77, much better than 1.0, so some good volume flowing into stocks on the increase. And then the trend Q is also matching now. So 0.48 as opposed to 0.7, even more bullish. And that matches beautifully with also what the VIX is doing. So finally these things are in line, and the VIX has dropped off concomitantly. So it's interesting to see the markets drop at the same time the VIX is dropping. That's a divergence in many ways. So go back to the S&P or the futures or the broad market itself, no matter what you look at, and that's why we're kind of hammering our way, making higher swing lows intraday. Of course, we'll have this as a resistance area going all the way back. So kind of good to go back in time and find out what we're about to find into. Excuse me 1 second. Anyway, so on the way back up, resistance would be easily drawn in at this prior swing high. Right here is a good one. And then if I wanted to zoom in, left click and hold, drag over here on Think or Swim, and you can zoom in quickly. If you want to get back out, just double click. So it's a really, again, a nice feature of Think or Swim, very fast. And then the next one above that would be this prior swing high. Easy to see this area. And any whole numbers in between there, like namely the $77 mark, which is why the support was there briefly, most likely. So those are my resistances on the way back up. It's an interesting environment. The trends are positive. The VIX is dropping, so things are looking bullish. Even the economic news was looking good. But you'll see on the sell-off this morning here that a lot of that news may have already been priced in. So watch out for these resistance areas on the way up. We've already been up many, many days in a row, so taking a rest here wouldn't at all be unlikely. So again, this is just a broad market. You can layer on top of this your relative strength and weakness stocks. If you go back and look at a daily chart, let me clean this up just a little bit. It's kind of nice to have that, but you can see how many days up. So really nice, 1, arguably 2, 3, 4. Now we're chopping sideways into this round number that we had already defined, this $76 mark area. So right through here, let me just make this point again. I'm sorry, $78 mark here that we had drawn in before. That's definitely what we're going to fight through next. Then we've got this at the 80 mark, maybe a couple in between, but namely this 80 mark, this is unfilled gap, is a big one. So lots and lots of people from up here got killed on this sell-off. They're going to want their money back when it comes back into this area. They're going to provide a lot of overhead resistance, and so that's why I would watch out for it in the form of resistance. Again, zooming in, that's why that's there. So really fun to look at that, take a broad look at the markets, and hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.